everybody, happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you are doing, you are having a fantastic weekend. Yes, I am in my greenhouse. Not a lot has happened. We've got some straw bales here that are up off the floor to keep things dry. I need to take some straw to the chickens in a bit. We've got some eggs again. The chickens are laying, which is great. I've got some more straw here, and I've got some hemp bales. Hemp is great for bedding. If you haven't tried hemp, you should try hemp. Not for yourself, obviously. If you have animals, hemp's very good at absorbing moisture, and it doesn't get clumpy like some of the stuff out there. I don't know if you can hear, but it's raining outside, and we have had such a week. Let me open the window so you can see. As you can see, we still have snow on the ground. Last week we had a lot of snow, as you probably saw in last week's video. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we had a forecast for over a foot of snow. But what we got instead was lots and lots of very fine snowflakes and very, very fine ice flakes. And so we had much less snow. It was kind of the snow, sleet, ice mix, which was fine because it was super, super cold and well below freezing, and we didn't have any issues. And, you know, I was able to go out a couple of times on the truck first and then in my wife's car to run some errands. And thanks to winter tyres, I was able to go out and do loads of stuff. But then Sunday, Monday, we started getting ice rain. And if you don't know, ice rain is formed when you get warmer air at higher altitudes mixing with air that's super cold at the ground level. And it was exacerbated here in the Pacific Northwest by cold winds coming along the gorge from the east side of Portland, mixing with warm air coming in from the coast. And we just had brutal, brutal ice rain. We had probably this much ice on everything. The truck was covered. The car was covered. The first day we had the ice, I went out with the dogs first thing in the morning. It was so icy that I didn't play with the dogs. I normally take the ball out and throw balls for them, and they run and chase it and have a great time. It was so icy that I could barely stand up. The dogs could barely stand up. But the good news is that we didn't lose power. So we had 2 power cuts last week. The first one happened on Tuesday before I filmed last week's chicken and garden. And the second one happened on Thursday. And I can't remember which day I actually filmed the chicken and garden update. But we had trouble in the first power cut with the truck providing power. For the second time, I'd actually reset the charging stations by turning everything off for a good half hour, 45 minutes. And I had started a test to see if the truck would power the house, and it did. And while I was powering the house, we had an actual power cut. We got a message from the local power company saying, hey, your power's out. And so the truck came to save the day. Funnily enough, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, basically all the way through this week. It's currently Thursday when we're recording this. We haven't had a power cut. The power has not wavered. So I feel very privileged because literally everybody else I know who lives in the greater Portland area, whether they are friends of the family, family members, colleagues, or indeed supporters of the channel, every single one of them had rain. And they had ice rain, and they had power cuts. So we had one family member who lost power, I think, for 4 days. I had some friends who lost power for significant periods of time. But here, the power just stayed on. Unfortunately, I don't know if you can see over here, I'm trying to keep the camera out of the rain. The chickens are very, very fed up. They have not really done much at all this week. They have given us some eggs, which is nice because, you know, in this weather, I didn't expect them to give much in the way of eggs. But one thing that we have seen, and let's see if I can do this without getting the camera super, super wet, is that we get a lot of wild birds now congregating in our chicken coop. They have figured out that there's free food in there. So we've had juncos, we've had sparrows, and some more exotic sort of small garden birds regularly get in there, and then they all panic and they can get in quite fine, but then they struggle to get back out again. So a couple of times every day, I have to go and open the door, let them out, and then close the door again, because I don't want the chickens coming out in this, and the chickens don't really want to come out in this. In terms of what's happened to the garden, not a lot, as you might expect. It's been super cold. Nothing has wanted to grow. Today, while I'm filming this, we were supposed to have ice rain this afternoon. But I think we're just warm enough that all of the rain that's been falling, it's literally like half a degree above freezing right now. And so it's actually falling as rain. It has helped melt any of the residual snow. As you can see, it's melting. The driveway is an ice rink still. Anywhere where there's tarmac is an ice rink. I had to go down the village this morning and pick up our mail. And it took me about 40 minutes round trip, because I couldn't drive kind of any faster than about 10, 15, 20 miles an hour maximum, because the roads were just so treacherous. Even though they were technically clear, there were spots of black ice and there were spots of accumulated snow build-up, so it wasn't very nice. And if you're wondering why we had to go down and pick up the mail, it's because about a week ago, in fact, just after we'd filmed last week's Chicken and Garden Update, a construction truck was driving up past our house, and it became, I think, the fourth vehicle to knock a mailbox off this week. Our mailbox has been on the opposite side of the road, and but we have no mailbox anymore. They drove through and they took it out, and it ended up in a ditch about 300-400 yards up the road. They were really travelling, and we have security cameras all around the house, and we caught it on camera, but not clearly enough to see a license plate or a company name. So every time that happens, we end up having to spend a couple of $100 replacing our mailbox. I went down to the post office and told them, and there's a new postmaster who was very wonderful, and she said, don't worry, you can now put your mailbox on the other side of the road on your property, so that in the future nobody smashes into it. So we're going to have to come up with a brand new mailbox design that we can use to make sure that we don't lose any more mail. I know we could put a concrete post or a metal post, but I've heard some really terrible horror stories of people hitting those and then suing the owners. I don't really want to go there. Not really. Nothing else really has happened. We do have success on the garage. As I've mentioned in previous videos, my wife is currently in the process of insulating the garage, because the garage just here is completely uninsulated, or at least it was when we bought the house. And that has meant that when she's been working in the house in the winter, it's been pretty nasty in there for her. She hasn't been particularly warm. She's had to keep the heater on, and that's been very, very energy intensive for us as a family to run. So just before the Christmas break, she started insulating it. We found a good deal through a used marketplace of insulation, and we've been putting that in. And when the outside temperature was dipping down, I think the coldest it got was like minus 15 degrees Celsius. We did have the heating on in the shop, but even without the heating in the shop, the inside temperature didn't drop below freezing. So that is a huge improvement on previous years, where we ended up with things inside the garage freezing when it got super cold. The only other kind of issue with the super cold weather is we've had to have a heater in our pump house. In case you didn't know, obviously water's coming out of the ground. You're going to have to keep the tank and everything in that little pump house warm, because if you allow that to get cold, then you end up with split pipes and burst pipes and all kinds of horrible things. The pipes going underneath the garden to the main house, that's all insulated. The pipes in the house are all insulated. We've got a relatively new house. It's only it's 2006 our house was built. So we don't have to worry about that. We do have to worry about the pump house, which predates the house by quite a margin, to keep that warm and toasty. And this year, hopefully, is the year that we said last year we were going to rebuild it, and we never did. So hopefully this year we get to rebuild it. But anyway, it's getting cold and wet and dark. So I hope that your garden and your neck of the woods is a little bit warmer than it's been here. Tell me about the storm if you had it. How cold did it get where you are? I know large parts of the US got much, much colder than we get it here. Like 30, 40 degrees below zero, which is bonkers. Tell me about your weather experiences in the down below. Did you lose power? How did you survive? And if you have animals, how are they doing in this cold weather, especially if you have farm animals, chickens and goats and the like? Share your stories. I'll see you next week. Thanks for joining me today. And if you've got thoughts, make sure you leave them below in our Discord chat room, or you can reach out to us on Mastodon. Thanks to the amazing list of people scrolling by on your screen right now. They are some of the more than 1,500 people who help fund this channel through Patreon and YouTube, covering our bills, paying our team, and making sure that we can be 100% independent. If you'd like to join them and see your name listed here, just follow the links below. There are a range of different tiers you can sign up for, from as little as $1 a month, or if you pay yearly, about $10.08 per year. A huge welcome to our newest supporters: Tantalus A. Bond, Michael Baker, Christopher Lawrence, David J. Stober, Noah Tutak, and Ian Hoffman. To join the list and get your shout out, become a paid Patreon member for your week of fame. If you'd like to support us with a one-off donation, you'll find links below to make Ko-fi and Bitcoin donations, and we even have an old-fashioned PO box you can reach us at, address also below. And if you're in need of some swag, you'll find our swag store in the down below. This month, we're celebrating electric for everyone with an amazing new t-shirt design by our in-house artist and animator, Erin. Get yours today by heading to our Redbubble store. We've got some fantastic content coming up, so make sure you're subscribed on PeerTube or YouTube, and we'll see you very soon. We make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you want more, the mighty algorithm thinks you'll like this video, but we all think that this one is also well worth a look. See you soon, and as always, keep evolving.